I've
Yep.
just been reading about your new venture. Can you tell me about ham radio? And I don't understand this really.
Well,
Explain
yeah,
it.
this is so strange. So I have to credit my radio friend who works in Alaska, in McGrath, Alaska. His name's Paul Walker, and he's at this awesome public station up there, KSKO. So around the holidays, he announces on his social media that he's doing this simulcast of uh of his request show on shortwave radio on the station WRMI shortwave. I'm like, wait, how do you do that? You can do that? How can you do that? So anyway, I started talking to him, and I had listened to shortwave and had a shortwave radio growing up and liked tuning in from all over the world. Well, long story short is, yeah, there's essentially so the signals are kind of, they're high power, they're like 100,000 watts, many of them, or even more, and they just cover hundreds and thousands of miles across countries, borders, and they'll bounce across the ocean in some cases. And I don't totally understand the tech side of it or whatever, but there are stations that are essentially like time brokers, where you can sign up to broadcast your own show and send it to them, and they'll put it out on various frequencies that they operate. So there's only a handful. There's probably about 12 or so shortwave operators in the US at this time, and a lot of countries have been turning them off. And it's not, it used to be a big government tool for spreading
Yeah.
news and government viewpoints and so forth. But with the internet, it's sort of given way to some of these more commercial operators, where it's kind of like there's a lot of religion, there's a lot of weird conspiracy theory and that type of thing. But
The
you
art
can
bells of the
find some,
world.
yeah, yeah. But you can find some neat music shows, and I'm just geeked out by the signal, and these signals going as far as they do, because I got a listener report the first week. I even oh, did I click you off here? Hang on. Wait a minute. There we go. Yeah,
We're still here.
you're back. But the first week that I even did my first broadcast, which is pre-produced, and recorded, but you give out your email address, and that's part of the geekery of it, is you say, give us your reception report, drop us a line. And so that first week I got some listeners in the US. There was a guy in Madison, Wisconsin. There was a guy in East Hampton, Mass. He said it's about 100 miles west of Boston. And there was someone in Indianapolis, which was great. And then I got a message from someone that was listening in Japan, in Tokyo, Japan. And then I got a message from a guy, this was like several days later. There's a guy he said he was on a riverboat rafting in Peru, and out in the middle of nowhere with his shortwave radio. And he was like on a holiday or something, and it took a few days, and he was back to civilization. And he goes, yeah, I was listening on the Ucayali River in Peru, way out in the middle of nowhere.
That's really fun.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
All right. And so tell us what is your theme? What are you doing here?
So the show, it's actually this show that I invented during the pandemic, on the summit on my home base station. And it's a special show called Cruise in the Decades. And the idea is we pick one song from every decade of recorded popular music history. So we actually go back and start in the 1910s, and then the 1920s, and then the 1930s and the 40s. So it's one song per decade up to 2020s. So it's 100 years of music. And I intentionally mix it up. So it's like, we'll do like a 20s jazz, and then a 30s blues, and then a late 40s R&B, like a roots of rock and roll type song. So I'm trying to hit different sounds and styles, but it's kind of from a AAA or a rock listener viewpoint. So I'll intentionally grab original, like I've played Robert Johnson, Crossroads, which was covered by Cream, or like, stuff that people kind of know from music, from more recent music, but go back and find the original versions and things like that. So when the Radio Miami WRMI people were like, what kind of show do you want to do? That's what kind of hit me as being just funky enough and being a 1 hour concept, where you can pick one song per decade. So we call it Cruising the Decades. And it's something that we've done on the Summit. We do it on Friday afternoons on the Summit, and it's gotten such interesting curiosity that I thought that might get some interest, from people just scanning the dial. And at least at least one song should hopefully appeal to everybody, depending on their age group and the decades covered and everything. So it's going over all right, it's pretty cool.
That's a really cool idea. A really,
Yeah,
really
thanks.
cool idea.